Hi guys! I've got an incredible trap from the Benko Gambit. Your opponent will never see this sneaky trick coming, so they'd better be very careful.
Okay, let's rock and roll.
The game starts with pawn to d4, knight to f6. After pawn to c4, a typical opening from d4 players. Let's play the Benoni defense. Most of the time, white pushes pawn to d5, locking down black's space. Go ahead and play pawn to b5. This is the Benko Gambit. White's best move is to accept the gambit. Or if your gambit gets declined, white will usually play pawn to b3, creating a solid pawn chain. And it's usually followed by bishop to b2. Let's just play pawn to g6. The idea is simple. Fianchetto the dark-squared bishop. Let's say bishop to b2. We'll stick to the same plan. After knight to c3, go ahead and play pawn to d6, building a solid pawn structure. So, what does white usually play here? Okay, let's say white tries a sneaky move, putting pressure on the knight. Feel free to pause the video. What would you play here? Don't hold back, just take the knight. And after white pulls off the idea, yeah, you lose the right to castle because you have to move the rook. Pretty clever trick. I like your style. I wouldn't worry about the rook. Don't move it. Instead, give your opponent a special surprise. Look at the king. He's really disappointed in his own pieces. If pawn blocks the check, just take it. It doesn't change anything. Or if bishop falls back to block the queen's attack, just take the bishop. Still, check. Queen has to block. Mate. What a beautiful, perfectly calculated checkmate. Hi, bro! But what if the knight doesn't jump to the center? And instead, the engine's top move is for the knight to take the pawn. Here, you can simply chase the knight away. Or you can just castle. Or you can also attack the knight with your bishop. White's pawn structure is about to fall apart. The queen might give a check afterward and then win the pawn back. Okay, the engine's top move is for the knight to jump back. Go ahead and keep chasing the knight. Then your knight can join the attack, adding even more pressure. It also opens up the dark-squared bishop. Let's say queen to d2, breaking the pin. What's your move? Yep, just stick to the plan. Attacking queen. And now you're attacking the knight 3 times, so it's obvious the knight has to take your knight. Go ahead and trade queens. After knight recaptures the queen, it's our turn to take the dark-squared bishop. We're still down a pawn here, but our position is slightly better. After knight develops to protect the other knight, go ahead and attack the rook. And if rook tries to fight back, attack it again. Rook has no choice but to run back into the king's arms. Go ahead and play it out from this position. We'll be up material soon after trading the bishop for the rook. Then push the a-pawn, breaking apart white's solid pawn chain, while also opening the rook's file. The engine gives white a score of around -1.5. You're clearly better. Okay, let's go back to the starting position of the Benko Gambit. But what if white takes the pawn instead? Benko Gambit accepted. Go ahead and attack the pawn. And if white takes pawn for a second time, you can recapture with the bishop or with the knight, whichever you prefer. Most of the time, white continues with knight to c3. Top move. It's usually followed by pawn to e4. Simply play knight to b4, putting pressure on the d5 pawn. And if pawn chases your knight away, that's not really an attack, guys. Look, the pawn is pinned. So this is your chance to improve your position. You can bring the queen to a 5 and make the party even more exciting. White is clearly falling behind. So white usually continues with pawn to e4, building a rock-solid pawn center. Go ahead and play queen to e5. What would you play as white here? Okay, the engine's top move is for the pawn to attack the knight, because if white plays something else, like knight to f3, it looks like a perfectly natural developing move. Then maybe bishop to e2, followed by kingside castling. White's position is about to fall apart. Go ahead and take the pawn. Then don't hesitate. Go after the knight too. You'll leave white with a really unhealthy pawn structure. And if white takes the knight, yeah, thanks a lot. Double check. King has to move. Check again. Queen has to block. Hasta la vista, baby. Now sit back and enjoy the game. You're up a queen. Go ahead and pick off white's pieces, one by one, with no mercy. Now it's your turn. Get creative and finish the game in style. So, no matter what white does here, whether it's knight to f3, pawn to h3, or bishop to e2, just take the e4 pawn. Even if white finds the engine's top move, pawn to a3, chasing the knight, still, take the e4 pawn. And main line is for the pawn to take the knight. Because if, like before, the knight takes the knight, it looks free, but it's definitely poisoned. Let's dance! Double check. King's got only one move. Now give another check, driving the king even farther away from its own army. Then, knight takes rook. Or you can just take the rook right away. Let's say bishop to d2, attacking the queen. Don't worry, your knight isn't going anywhere, because we've got a tempo move. And after king steps back, watch out, the bishop is ready to kick your queen away, so go ahead and take the pawn. Now your knight is safe. You're winning the exchange here. On top of being a pawn up, then play pawn to d6. Develop the light-squared bishop. Maybe pawn to g6, fianchettoing the dark-squared bishop. From there, just play your game and enjoy the position. Or, if the game continues, let's say knight takes pawn. Or white just plays another natural move, like knight to f3. We're winning here. King has to leave the throne once again. And... checkmate. Okay, what if the knight takes the pawn? No problem, just give the check anyway. After king moves away, don't play bishop to h6, knight will just take the bishop. Instead, go ahead and take the pawn. And if white isn't careful, then queen to b5, check. After knight blocks, queen takes the knight, checkmate. Let's say black pushes the pawn, giving the king an escape square. You don't need to give a check with the queen. Sure, you could win the knight afterward, but instead, just attack the queen. Now the queen is trapped, and the bishop has to protect it. Go ahead and take the bishop. Queen has to move. Now give a check. Then take the queen. That's why the king should never wander too far away from the queen. Another check. King to d3 is still trying to protect the queen. Just keep checking. King's got only one move. Don't take the bishop. Just keep driving the king deeper into your territory. Bishop takes rook. Now give another check. King takes knight. Another check. After king to g5, checkmate. That was some seriously bad play by white. Okay, let's keep going. So, if knight takes knight, white is going to fall apart, sooner or later. The top move is for the pawn to take the knight. Because after queen takes rook, white wins both of your knights. Okay, don't be disappointed. In reality, the position is still completely equal. After normal developing moves, the plan is to fianchetto the king's bishop. Then castle kingside. Let's say knight to c3. Bishop to g7, attacking the b2 pawn twice. And let's say queen defends the pawn. Go ahead and complete the double fianchetto. Besides putting more pressure on the pawn, rook can also swing over to c8, attacking both the queen and the bishop. So white has to be very careful. Okay, after white castles, rook helps protect the bishop. You can castle too and just continue developing as usual. Look, the bishop is still putting pressure on the pawn. Then maybe push the pawn. King's rook can slide over, adding even more pressure on the queen side. And there are still plenty of strong ideas you can play, depending on how your opponent responds. Don't worry, the position is still completely equal. Bro! Yep. But what if white tries a sneaky move? Bishop attacks your bishop, and the rook is ready to take your queen. What? Seriously? Come on. Let's go crazy! And after rook takes the queen, take the rook back with check. Bishop has no choice but to block. Now bring the other rook to the party. Remember, your bishop can take that pawn at any time. There's also a dangerous battery aimed at the back rank. White is clearly in serious trouble. So, what would you play as white? Okay, let's take queen to b3 as an example, defending the pawn while also putting pressure on b4. Feel free to pause the video. What's your move? No, don't play rook to c1. Knight can simply go to d2, protecting the bishop. And don't attack the bishop either. Knight can still come over and defend the pinned bishop. So, let's brutal! King takes! Another check! King moves. Best option. Another check. Queen has to block. Another check. If knight blocks, just take the queen. King recaptures. Go ahead and play it out from here. We're winning. Now go ahead and promote your passed pawn. Or, if you prefer, trade down into a winning endgame. From here, finish the game your way. Get creative and enjoy converting the win. Or what if, after, rook gives check, white doesn't respond with king to e2, and instead blocks the check with the knight? Puzzle the day. Can you find the checkmate in 3 moves? Thanks. Alright guys, that was an awesome trap from the Benko Gambit, and it's a perfect weapon for bullet and blitz games. Hope you found it useful. Thanks for watching. See you in the next trap.
Welcome to